You can't make someone be ready for what you're ready for. And you're not obligated to wait around for them to make up their mind. Unfortunately, there's a lot of women hoping that the man will make up his mind and decide to suddenly want a relationship when he has stated, or possibly he hasn't said it, but he showed it, that he's not ready for a relationship. And you've got to be mindful of how to navigate this situation, because if you mishandle it, you can find yourself feeling stuck. You can find yourself getting so caught up, so attached to this individual that now you struggle to do what is truly best for you. So I want to lay out some things you need to evaluate when a man says or shows, and we'll also talk about that, he's not ready for a relationship. So the first thing is he trying to just be platonic friends, or he wants to play like your boyfriend? So there's a lot of women who have come to me and tell me about these situations where they're dating a guy and things seem to be going well, but the guy has, in this case, said, no, he doesn't want anything serious, or, let's go with the flow, so on and so forth. And they'll ask, well, what should I do? And my thing is, listen, I'm okay if he's not ready and he wants to take an approach that says, let's take it slow, let's get to know each other, but we aren't crossing the lines of basically acting like boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay, if you're okay with that, fine, cool. But unfortunately, what I do see a lot of women do, or a lot of women accept, is allowing this man to drag out his decision or his desire for whether he may or may not want a relationship, while still getting the benefits of you as essentially his girlfriend. You're still having sex with him. You're still calling and talking to him as if you two were together. In some cases, I've even seen where men are holding you to the standard of not wanting you to see other people and even being jealous. And I have to mention this, women confusing the jealousy with him actually wanting to be with you. Let me make something very clear. A lot of men are territorial. Regardless of whether they want to be with you or not, they don't like other people getting the woman that they've gotten. They want to have her all to himself. They want to feel like they're the only ones that can get her, whatever the case may be. So you've got to understand that being territorial should not be confused with real feelings, all right? Yes, they may in the moment look like real feelings, but no, he is just being possessive. He is just being selfish. That means nothing in regards to him actually wanting to be serious with you. I have literally seen men, metaphorically speaking, put their handcuffs on women, sometimes maybe actually in whatever their bedroom activities are, but that's besides the point. Essentially putting the metaphorical handcuffs on women, not wanting this woman to go anywhere and entertain anyone. And the whole time he knows she will never be my official woman. She will never be someone I consider for marriage. But yet he still behaves in that manner. So getting back to the original point, again, don't confuse those things. But what is he trying to do here? And you've got to gain clarity on that when the words, I'm not ready for a relationship, comes out of his mouth. Okay, if you're not ready for a relationship, what exactly are you ready for? What do you desire? And what does that look like? Because again, what happens to a lot of women is you may ask the guy, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? And he'll say, let's just go with the flow. Let's be friends. But you still don't have clarity on what's his version of friendship. Again, his friendship might be, let's still have sex. Let's still date as if we're in a relationship, but don't hold me to the standard or expectation of giving you an official relationship. And I feel the need to mention this now. If some of you are confused, well, why would a man want all these benefits, want to behave in this way, but not want a relationship? Because some men still like to interact and have the the emotional side of having a woman's interest and a woman being into them and all these things, but they don't want the obligation that comes with a relationship. That's the key thing. Committing to a woman means committing to, one, only seeing her. And so that means giving up other women, just had to add that in there. But also having a greater level of responsibility for her happiness. Not that your partner's responsible for your happiness, but we all know that if we're going to get in a relationship with someone, we do have a level of expectation or responsibility of how we pour into them and the necessity to do that. There's a higher level of time that has to be given when we are officially in a relationship. So things change. And if that man does not want that obligation, those expectations, he doesn't want to have to give that level of time, then yes, he may still want to engage in boyfriend, girlfriend-ish type ways, hell, husband, wife type ways, even though he's not trying to go there with you. So what I'm trying to get at is, even when he says, well, let's just be friends, or, let's just take it slow, or let's go with the flow. What the hell does that mean? Like, yo, be specific, man. I want you to ask him, lay out for me. Does that mean you're still trying to have sex? Does that, how are you expecting we behave? Now, that's just for the sake of gaining an understanding of where his head is at. But please understand, you don't have to agree to anything he says. You have to do what's best for you, which brings me to my next point. What do you really want? At the end of the day, what are you looking for here? And the reason why this is so important for you as a woman to understand and embrace is because so many women get caught up in compromising their true desire in an attempt to make this work, in an attempt to not lose this man, in an attempt to still gain the benefits that maybe she wants to gain as far as companionship is concerned, all right? And so essentially, the woman lies to herself and lies to the man. She might say, okay, yeah, I'm cool with going with the flow. No, the hell you're not. Oh, I'm cool if we're casual right now. No, you're not. Oh, I'm not really looking for a relationship. No, the hell you're not. Be real. Now, in fairness, if you can genuinely say you don't want a relationship either, that you simply want to spend time with this man, enjoy him for what it is, and that's it. As a grown woman, that is your decision. And if you are at peace with that, so be it. I'm not here to tell you that you can't live your life in that way. Do I think it can lead to a lot of trouble? Yeah, you have to be very careful. You have to be very mindful of who you allow yourself to engage with. And I feel the need to say this. The reason why it's extremely important to be mindful of who you allow yourself to be casual with is because in the vast majority of situations, if not almost all of them, but no, I'll say the vast majority, not all, women tend to be casual with men of lower quality. Let me say that one more time. Women tend to be casual with men of lower quality. And I don't say that to insult the man. I say that to shed light on the fact that many times the woman will allow herself to be casual with a man who could be toxic, could be problematic in certain ways, or again, he's just flat out lower quality, so you're not really into him like that. And that's the key to this. Because for many women, most women I would argue, it is too difficult to be casual with a man that you're really into and see yourself with. And so that guy, you can't bring yourself to do it because your emotions get easily caught up. You're going to want more. It's going to hurt too much to just remain in this casual position if you're truly deeply into him and again, could see yourself with him. But if he's a guy who quote unquote is good enough for entertaining, but you don't really feel him in that way, then you feel like it's a safer and easier place to do this whole casual thing, all right? And it's a problem because, again, you will now ignore the fact that His lack of quality can be in areas that wreak havoc in your life. His lack of quality and overall, the fact that he's not the type of guy that you should be dealing with can now cause you, before you know it, find yourself in a situation where you actually are caught up because you develop this unhealthy attachment to this man. And now you're holding on to a man longer than you planned on and expected to, because you don't know how to get yourself out of this situation, because you thought you could handle it, but you couldn't. Which goes back to being honest with yourself about what do you truly want? And yes, what can you actually handle? So when this man tells you, I only want friendship, can you handle that? Do you actually want that? When he tells you, I only want to have sex in the meantime, can you actually be okay with that? You should not set yourself up for what you genuinely know is not what you desire or can handle. And again, I keep saying can handle because you have to be real about how these things affect you emotionally and how that will pour over into other aspects of your life. So again, evaluate all these things when this man says he is not ready for a relationship. And never be afraid to let go of a man who's not on the same page as you. If you know you want more, if you know you want a relationship, then sometimes you have to just, most of the time you have to accept that his not being ready or his not wanting one more so says he does not want it with you. Now listen, I don't say that for you to feel hurt by it, to take offense to it. I say it for you to understand that means he's not for you, but that also means you're not for him. That means this is not a good fit. That means we need to take that as an opportunity to exit stage left and get on the path to receiving what's truly best for you and what you actually want in life. Because here's the other thing to consider. There's a lot of things hitting me as I'm doing this video right now that I wasn't even planning on talking about. The other thing you have to be mindful of is when you allow yourself to get caught up in these situations with men who don't want a relationship and hold on to it. And again, this is where you as a woman have to be real with yourself. Can you operate within this dynamic without losing yourself, getting caught up, getting emotionally attached, things of that nature? Because what you are essentially doing in most cases is taking yourself off the shelf. What I mean by that is you are making yourself unavailable to what is better out there. All right. You're now off the market. In your head, you might say, but nah, I'm accepting it as casual. I know what this is. I'm still looking for that better thing elsewhere. But be real with yourself as a woman. I'm not saying no woman hasn't successfully managed to pull that off. What I am saying is I've seen more women get caught up when they thought they could handle it. I've seen more women find themselves becoming emotionally consumed by their situationship to where they are not in a place mentally or emotionally to actually embrace the right guy coming along. I've seen women get so drained and damaged by these BS situations, BS relationships sometimes, that when the right guy comes, you don't have anything left to give him at that moment. You're just drained. You're just tired of it all. So you've got to be mindful of how this will impact you. And even if you want to give it a try, because we're human. And sometimes, yeah, we might be like, you know what? Maybe I could work with this. I'm going to be good. Even if you think you can pull it off. Not saying you should try to or not, but if you think you can pull it off, be aware enough to the moment you start to realize this is getting the best of you and this is unhealthy, get the hell out of there. That's it, at the very least. But again, understand this. This is another thing I've seen with a lot of women. The more you invest in a situation, the harder it can become to let go. So you've got to really be mindful and maybe even put in some security measures like, have some accountability partner or partners and be like, listen, when it gets to this point and I say I need to get out, do everything necessary, erase his number from my phone, whatever provisions you have to put in place to ensure you are able to safely get out when it's time to get out. Again, I'm not saying you should have ever been in there. I'm just saying I know that things are going to happen sometimes. So I want you to be equipped from every angle that you may try to handle this with. All right. All right. So let's keep this moving. So I gave you a lot to digest so far, but let's kind of pivot a little bit and give a different angle, because we're talking about the man being on some nonsense, not around a relationship, and you being mindful of how that whole thing can play out. But let's consider for a second that he's actually being genuine, that he does like you, but he really isn't ready for a relationship. So here's the thing. I think there's a natural reaction for many women to automatically think he's full of crap, to automatically think he is making excuses and things of that nature. And again, I'm not saying most cases arguably are genuinely are really like that. However, we've got to be mindful of considering the other side. And so when you're talking to a man and he explains this to you and he says, I like you, but I'm not ready, I would say this. Number one, I think he would be, that kind of guy would be much more understanding and willing to compromise with you or to respect your boundaries and what you need to navigate this situation. Like, I think the guy who's really just making excuses is going to try to push you into, let's just have some sex. let's just do our thing. Let's just go with the flow. The go with the flow is a big one. But this guy, I'm not saying he may not be tempted to still throw in some sex attempts. All right, some men are just, it is what it is. But I think he's much more willing to be respectful of how you feel, or just flat out he will at the end of the day embrace it. He's not going to be mad at you if you said, I need to take a step back. If you're not ready, then we got to go our separate ways in the meantime. I think the only resistance you may find to that is him being afraid to lose you completely in that process. So he may fight to keep you in his life, maybe as a friend, but I think he again will respect the boundary of, okay, if we're going to be friends, it's just friendship right now. But let me just throw in again, even if you agree to that, even if it's the guy who we believe genuinely likes you but is just not ready, please understand, only embrace what you can handle. So if you cannot handle being just friends, don't do it. I'd much rather you say to him, listen, if you're not ready, fine. Go do what you need to do. When you are, hit me back up. But until then, we can't do anything in between. All right? If that's going to protect your peace and protect your mental health, you got to do what's best for you. But getting back to the idea that he's being genuine, listen, there are situations where men may feel like they're not of a financial status they want to be yet. They're not of a overall life stability that they need to be at yet. Some situations, I don't really want to use this one, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, where some men, and I think this is when the man is a lot younger, the conflict of, am I ready to let go of being a single man and being out there and living my life and now fully commit? Like, this guy could view you as an amazing woman that he wants to hold on to, that he wants to have in his life, but he's not fully prepared to embrace monogamy at the level that's required not monogamy period, to be in a real relationship with you. And so these are real things that can happen. And again, we don't need to dismiss them. If that's his explanation, fine. And it's not even about you trying to figure out how genuine this is. It's you making sure that you just put up proper boundaries. And that I also want you to not completely shut the door. If you can say to me, you feel like there's a real connection here. If you can say to me, you feel like this guy has been nothing but good to you, like, okay, then we don't need to have this mentality of, well, he had his chance, so no, it's over, never again. There's no need for that. If he comes back and he comes back correct, then why not? Why cheat yourself out of that opportunity to later come together and have something amazing? Because yes, some guys just aren't ready. And I would much rather a man be honest with you and tell you he's not ready than to do what a lot of men have done, which is become your boyfriend, commit to you when they know damn well they can't give you what you need. When they know damn well they're not done running the streets. They're just hoping they can work through all these other deficiencies while they keep you locked in. That is the unhealthy approach that many have taken. So let's respect when a man can be honest and forthcoming about him not being ready. But again, also evaluate his overall actions towards you. Is this a man that has been respectful to you? Is this a man that has shown an ability to communicate with you? And I say that to say so that you can understand there's no need to X him out. He's a good guy. He's just not ready. Versus the guy who's been trash anyway and telling you that he's not ready. That's just let him go. Regardless of genuine or not, let him go because he's not of the quality that you need in your life. And he does not fit into your life. Now, real quick, one of the things to kind of help you to know when the guy is lying or being real and how to handle those situations is to get the book, He's Lying, Sis. Another one of my best-selling books. Again, women are loving it, finding it extremely helpful. Click the link in the description or in the comment section and get your copy today, or go to he'slyingsis.com. Now, here's another point that I want to mention. We've kind of already talked about it, but I want to just give it another separate highlight. So let's consider the fact that he is lying and he's trying to use you, okay? Again, what the man says should not be the focal point as much as what he does or is trying to do, all right? And what you allow for him to do. Because at the end of the day, the concern of he's just trying to use me is only if you allow him to use you. And so what I mean by that is this. If this guy says to you, all right, I'm not ready for a relationship, right? But he's just trying to keep you around. Let's have some sex. I don't say let's have some sex like 5 times or whatever already, but that's his angle, right? If you are concerned that he's just trying to use you, then don't have the sex. Don't do the things that will make you feel like you're being used or cheated or getting less than you deserve. If he's not pouring back into you in the ways that you need, all right, then again, that's the issue. Him saying because again, we don't always know from initially if this is genuine or not. What will show it is what happens after and how you handle it and then how he responds to how you handling it. Because again, the guy who's just trying to use you is the guy who, in one example, may want to push for the sex. You turn down the sex and now he's getting angry with you, or now he's cursing you out. He's trying to guilt you into it, or he just drops you altogether because you don't want to have it with him. Clearly that man was just trying to use you. Clearly that's all he was interested in. Whereas the guy who really likes you, he's human. He may try to have some sex. I'm just keeping it real. He may try, but he's not going to run away because you turned him down. He's not going to be mad because you want to wait. He's not going to take issue with you not being ready in that way. You see what I'm saying? So this is where you're going to really see what the intentions are, if it even gets to that level, because again, it may have just stopped at he's not ready and y'all go y'all separate ways. But be mindful of don't get so caught up in the fear of being used. Focus on, okay, what am I allowing in this situation? What am I willing to allow? Am I getting what I need in return? Now, here's another thing I want you to consider, all right? And then after this, we're going to have a couple questions I had took from my followers to add to this whole topic. But another thing to consider is when he says he's not ready for a relationship, does he have a plan? So this is another example or another way to evaluate where's this man's head really at? And is he genuine in his just the need of more time, not a lack of actual desire and seriousness? And that is, what's the plan here? Okay, so you're not ready. What does this look like as far as you need a few months, you need a few years? And I know it's hard for someone to give you a timeline, right? But what is your plan to get ready? How long do you maybe even foresee? Do you give me some idea? Because my thing is this. If he says, for example, I need to get my money right. I need to get my finances in order before we can get into a real relationship, right? Okay, cool. How do you plan to achieve that? Are you applying for jobs? Are you starting your business? Or what are you doing here? Because if he just says that, but he has no plan to present, he ain't serious. He's simply not serious. He has to at least have an idea of what he's trying to do right now. And even if he cannot give a timeline, I do think that depending on what it is that he's trying to accomplish before he can move forward, that will kind of give more of an idea of what needs to happen. So I hate to have to use this example, Lord have mercy, but it's hitting my spirit. I got to do it. Some of y'all may not like it, but it is what it is. Let's say he's not ready for a relationship because he's still technically married. And he's telling you he's going to get a divorce, right? And maybe you didn't know he was married at first and you got caught up with him. Maybe you did know he was technically married. And I say technically meaning like he's separated, he's still married, but in his eyes and maybe even in his wife's eyes, they are not in a relationship right now. But he wants to get things finalized before he can fully commit to you, which would be the right thing to do first and foremost. But let's be real. Some men may use that as a way to keep the other woman lingering on and still have dealings with them while they drag their feet with actually getting a divorce. Now, I'm not here to talk about whether he should be getting a divorce or not. We don't know this specific hypothetical situation, right? However, this is something that a timeline can be given to a certain extent. If that is the plan, I need to get a divorce first. All right, cool. When you putting in the papers, what are we doing here? What are we looking at? So I understand what to expect. And if a man cannot give you specific, and let me make clear, even if he can give you a plan, even if he says, listen, I need 3 months. 3 months, this will be done. I'll have this handled and we'll be good. That doesn't mean continue to be with him for those 3 months in a romantic sense. Hell, in this scenario, don't be with him at all. In this scenario, if he's married, leave his ass alone until he handles his business. If he gets divorced, so be it. Then y'all can link back up and take it from there. But until then, I would highly advise, for so many reasons, and I'll give you one reason right now, because sometimes things don't go as planned. And I've seen a ridiculous amount of situations where people were supposed to get divorced and it never happened. And the person on the side found themselves, devastated, damaged, caught up, giving their time and energy to this man that they thought, or sometimes women, that they thought was going to leave their partner, and it didn't happen like that. You never know how things can turn in situations like that. So it's very important that you let them handle their business and then you make it happen. But the point of having a plan is simply to show you a genuineness, at some level of genuineness. Because if he can't give you one, then why are we to believe that he's serious about just needing some more time? So let's run through some quick questions that I also took on this topic. And the first one is, can a man change his mind from not ready or not wanting a relationship to actually wanting one? It is possible. It is possible. I will say this. If he says he does not want a relationship, I don't think that the chances of him changing his mind with you are very low. And I say with you simply because many times we've seen, I say we, me, you, other people, a man tell one woman, I don't want a relationship, I don't believe in marriage, so on and so forth. Let's say they did have a situationship for years. He finally leaves that woman or she leaves him. 6 months later, he's engaged to another woman. So it shows you that He wasn't against it. He just did not want it with you. And again, don't take that personally. It's just we're not a fit for everybody. Not a fit for us. Fine. We have to understand that. So if he says he does not want one, it is extremely less likely he's going to change to now want. Because to say I don't want one is to really shut the door and say to you, don't expect anything from me as far as commitment is concerned. All right. I'm not ready at least gives the idea of maybe I just need more time. He could still be full of crap, but maybe I just need more time because, again, as I pointed out, he could be genuine. So if he says I'm not ready, it is then, yes, more possible for a changing of mind to happen. But as a woman, you got to understand him changing his mind isn't going to be about, well, maybe if I put it on him or maybe if I do this and that, he'll now be ready for it. No, a lack of readiness speaks to an issue within himself, not you. To say I'm not ready means if he's genuine, I do think you're a great woman. I do see you as someone I can be with, but I have to resolve some things within me that don't allow me to be ready to take that next step with you. So don't fall into the trap of thinking, well, if I can just, do some tricks here and there, that somehow will make this man change his mind and be ready all of a sudden. The second question is, should I hold on to him, but just see other people in the meantime? That can be really messy. And you got to be real with yourself about what you can handle again. And I think I would advise no. If you want to see other people, do your thing, but holding on, so when we say holding on to him, I don't think you need to be actively, again, if you are holding on to him in the sense that you are friends with this man and you are allowing for nature to take its course, so be it. All right. And in that, you're living your life and you're focusing on you and your mental health and your preparation for what's to come in your life. Cool. But if you are holding on to him, still being consumed by it with the expectation that things will change, that can be a setup for disaster. And then you're bringing other people into the situation. This is where it can get messy because if you're really holding on to him with the belief that he'll come around, then these other people are just placeholders. And if they have genuine feelings for you or a desire to be with you, now it's them getting hurt. And now it just creates all kinds of nonsense. So that's why I would say be extremely careful with that kind of an approach. It'd be better to just let go and do your thing. And again, when he's ready, then y'all can come back together. All right. And now the last question is, and I think y'all going to really like this one. Why does a man pursue a woman if he's not ready for a relationship? So here's the thing, and it's actually one of the chapters in my book called He Doesn't Want a Girlfriend, but He Acts Like Your Boyfriend. So I kind of mentioned it earlier where there are plenty of men who still enjoy the engagement that occurs in a relationship. The loving, the intimacy, the desire, the sweetness, all that stuff, right? But they don't want the obligation of the relationship. And so their pursuit of you is due to their desire of you. And there's a quote that says, just because someone desires you doesn't mean they value you. And so we're going to put it like this more specifically. It doesn't mean they value you in regards to wanting to be serious with you. It doesn't mean they value you in regards to seeing you as someone they can spend their life with. But they have a strong desire for you. And however you want to look at it, men act on this desire. And because some men feel like they have to behave in this boyfriend-ish way to even get their foot in the door or to be able to keep that woman around, they do that. Now, granted, this is selfish and it's unhealthy, but a lot of men will engage in this behavior because they know it feeds the woman's desires and it buys them more time while not giving you the label of an official relationship. All right? But also, again, because they simply want to enjoy you, whether that's just have sex with you, whether that's be the boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic without having the obligation, they want to have you in their life. And this is why many do it. But again, it's about what you allow and what you entertain. And this is why I do videos like this, so that you can recognize quickly what's going on in front of you, being able to determine within yourself what are you willing to accept and how to better handle it, so you can ensure that you get what's best for you and not get caught up in situations you don't belong in. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. A wise man doesn't love a million girls. He loves one girl in a million ways. And so essentially, when a man is truly in love with you, the words that he speaks will sound like music to your ears. But